The internet is a blessing and a curse. So I try and grab all my information for as many credited sources as I possibly can to share it with people because I wish I had it.
I know. It really helps bring clarity. This is where one of the things that I say to people, especially when they're looking at, this is a tactic I use for when people are trying to figure out their schedules and time management and stuff. I say, what are you best at? What do you know? Like, what is your craft?
Welcome to the Success Blueprint Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship and success. Join us in uncovering the stories behind the triumphs, challenges, and invaluable lessons learned by today's most inspiring entrepreneurs. From real estate moguls to tech innovators, we explore the secrets to their success and share actionable insights to help you on your own journey.
Welcome, everyone. I am so glad that you are joining us for today's episode. We are so lucky to have Susanne Mastromattei online with us today, where we're going to be diving into her path to success, how she achieved it, and everything that she's done to get to where she is right now. So, Susanne, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to have you. I know we've known each other for just a little while, but it has been such an experience getting to know you. You are such a brilliant mind, and I love your work ethic. So I really wanted to have you on here because I wanted to share your path to success. A lot of people, when they are building their careers, they'll have hurdles that they have to overcome, and you have done just that to achieve what you've done. So I wanted to start off with having you tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, what excites you about being in real estate.
Well, first, Colleen, you can call me Sue because we know each other way better than first and last name. So thank you so much for having me. It's a two-way street here, and I'm extremely proud of you and how many hurdles you've overcome as well. So thank you for the warm introduction. Yeah, I guess just a quick little bit about myself. I got into real estate now, gosh, it has been 8 years, and I got into real estate by fluke. I'm originally from Ottawa, even though my lovely Toronto is now home. I moved here, it'll be 10 years it was 10 years this Easter weekend, right after university, graduated and packed up my things. And I said, we don't have a New York City, so I'm going to move to the second best thing. And that was Toronto. Always from an entrepreneurial background. My parents were in both real estate and the restaurant industry. I don't know anything else other than entrepreneurism. I went to school for business and got into sales and marketing right after university. So many people that moved to the city, I was slumming it and scraping it together. I remember my first job, I made $1,600 monthly. It was a stipend. And so for those of you who don't know what a stipend is like, that's all you get paid. It's like after tax. It does not change. $800 every 2 weeks. My rent was $835. Yeah. My rent was $835. And I really had to pull it together to figure out what I wanted to do. And I had saved some money through university, bartending and waitressing. And I remember at the time I was dating someone who wanted me to quit my sales job. I was working for a bread and pastry manufacturer. And he said, quit your sales job. I'll take care of you. We're going to go sailing around the world. No, like for real. This is what he wanted.
I know.
Yeah, for real. This is what he wanted me to do. And I'm like, okay, I was 24 at the time. And I'm like, do I do it? And one of my suppliers gave me Leafs tickets. I took my little sister to a Leafs game at the time. And I remember having the conversation with her being like, I think I'm going to quit my job. I think I'm going to go sailing around the world. And she goes, you don't want to do that. And I said, I don't know, like maybe I will. And that night, lo and behold, I lost my wallet for the third time after moving to the city.
Yeah.
Rolled into a bank the next day to get a debit card, and they said, okay, can we have some ID? And I obviously had no identification because I had lost my wallet again for the third time. And, you know, my own frustration, I was like, I don't have my wallet. I don't have anything. They're like, okay, you can sit with a financial services advisor. And I thought to myself, great, someone's going to try and sell me a mutual fund again. And so I sat in his office. We'd go through all the questions, this, that, the other. And his last question to me goes, what are you doing with this $20,000 you have in your savings account? And I said to him, well, my boyfriend wants to go sailing around the world, so I might use it to live off of, but I really want to invest it into real estate. And he goes, well, okay, you should call my buddy. And he passes me a business card.
Mhm.
Fast forward, I bought a condo back in 2016. I flipped it on assignment. We made some really good money. And my then realtor said to me, "What do you do for a living?" And I was now selling chicken as opposed to pastries.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well," he goes, "Why do you sell that? Go get your license and sell something a little bit more expensive." And so I saw how real estate changed my life. And I
Mhm.
did. I worked full time. I got my license back with AREA at that time and saved up enough money, pulled the trigger back in 2019 and did it full time.
I love when you tell that story. And then when I giggle, I'm just giggling because
Of course, it's ridiculous.
he said, "Hey, babe, let's take off. Let's go sail the world. Like, I'm going to
Romanticized.
take care of you." Like, there's a lot of 24-year-olds and a lot of actually older women who are looking at that and being like, my God, I would totally want to do that. But knowing you and knowing why you chose differently, it's a perfect path for you. But you and I talk a lot about like universe aligning
Oh,
and
yeah.
signs and everything.
Oh,
And like that is just like the sequence of events that took place is just, it's like it's scripted. So I love hearing when you tell that story about how you
definitely
get
serendipitous, right? If I
yeah,
can use that word,
yeah,
a lot of things in life feel like they're a dream, and you and I talk
mhm,
about that all the time.
yeah,
But when you sit quietly, and that's something that you've helped me really do, Colleen, over the past 6 months. You sit quietly and you listen. The world and yourself rather tells you the things you need to hear. Yeah, nothing is by accident, that's for sure.
I know. Now, on that note, I want to know what type of valuable insights do you think that our audience can gain from you and your real estate journey from listening to this podcast today?
Well, one thing I think you've also learned about me is that I
Mhm.
don't sugarcoat anything, whether it is good news, bad news, or the harsh reality that some people don't want to but need to hear.
Mhm.
That is the truth, right? I'm always here to speak the truth to people. You can afford it. You can't afford it. You shouldn't buy it. You should buy it. So I am here just to give you the honest to gosh truth about my own experiences, the things that I've endured firsthand, so that potentially somebody listening doesn't have to go through that same hardship. I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, we're all put on this earth to share and collaborate. And if you're not sharing, you're not teaching, no one else is learning, and we're not getting ahead. So I'm just here to talk the truth.
I love it. Okay, so I want to hear about your journey to success in real estate. You have achieved a lot of great milestones. So I want you to walk us through some of those key moments that helped shape your career. And I want to hear about both the challenges that you faced as well as the triumphs that you experienced.
Absolutely. There have been a lot of both challenges and triumphs and ups and downs along the way. Like I mentioned before, I got my toes wet in real estate when I bought a condo back in 2016. And I remember paying $435,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. And everybody thought I was bananas at Park Lawn in Lakeshore, 110 Marine Parade, Riva del Lago. I bought it off a floor plan, and everyone's like, "Are you okay?" Because at the time, you could buy detached for like 700. They're like, "Are
Yeah.
you absurd? You're buying a piece of pie in the sky for nothing." And I was like, "I had a feeling." I had a feeling. This was going to be mine. Okay. I remember walking into a sales center. You could blow a cannon through the sales center. There was nobody there. Everyone thought I was absurd. And I bought my condo. I took my money. It was a 5% down deal. I knew I had to save. I set up a savings plan. I did, for the first time in my life, my own financial due diligence. And I created a business plan for myself. I ended up flipping the condo on assignment. I made some money, and I was influenced by my realtor at that time to buy 2 places. And this was 2017. I don't think I've ever shared this with you.
No, I don't know this one.
I bought 2 places. Okay. I bought a condo on Queen Street West, right across from the Drake Hotel. And then I bought myself another pre-construction condo, also 2 buildings down from where I had been before. Remember what happened in 2017 when they changed the mortgage stress test?
Yes, I do.
Like mind blowing. Okay. The market
Mhm.
went from, and I wasn't licensed at the time. I was an end user consumer. So I didn't get licensed to 18. And it was like the people were lining. This was like, forget the pandemic. People
Yeah.
were lining up around the corner for houses, and houses were selling over asking for the first time. It was just like cuckoo bananas. And then they changed the stress test in March of 2017, and the market just totally shut off. Okay.
Yeah.
So now here I am, little old Sue, working my regular job, making as much money as I possibly could. I mean, like, there's only so much you make working at GFS selling groceries, especially in uncertain economic times. And I have two
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sitting here renting a den at the time, like
Yeah.
renting a den for $1,200 in Liberty Village, waiting to move into my first place, getting my first mortgage, and I'm feeling the financial pressure like here, here, here. And so I move in. Okay. We're pre-construction. I'm in occupancy. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, taking out a line of credit. I can do this. I can do this. And you know, you're swallowing your pride. You're like, I can do this. Okay. So you want to talk about learning your biggest lesson? I bit off more than I could chew.
I know my blood pressure. I don't know if you see me taking the breath because with the financial background that I have, I'm like,
So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, I can do this. And
Yeah.
my realtor at the time's like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. And I'm thinking to myself, like, he keeps telling me, don't worry, we're going to figure it out. How the hell am I going to figure it out? And I'm writing my courses at the time, and I'm learning about like mortgage qualifications and this and that, et cetera, et cetera. So I get my first mortgage. Finally, I close on the place, and I can't qualify. Okay. So I'm taking a B mortgage back in 2017 when like no one was talking about, there was no six buzz. Okay.
Right.
2017, there was no six buzz. No one's like B lenders, et cetera, et cetera. No one was talking about private mortgages. So here I was with a B lender paying an astronomical amount. Like I'm talking crazy. My finances for one person were insane. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking back to myself being like, why didn't I go sailing around the world? Why didn't I let somebody else save me?
Take me away.
Take me away, bring me to Bali. And I had to sell my place that I was living in, my little Queen Street West condo. I had to sell my condo. I just couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
It is what it was. And I sold it for a number that makes my tummy turn right now, but it is what it is. And I went back to renting while I was waiting for my other pre-con condo.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you ask what happened in order to bring me to where I am today, well, that in itself, okay, I didn't educate myself. I wasn't with a real estate professional that educated me or gave me any information. And Colleen, you know me and what I do. I love knowledge. I think that if I can educate somebody and I can prevent them from having an experience like that, well, like hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah.
I was not letting that happen to anybody else.
And I think that's amazing because I have seen you in work doing that. It's one of the things that really sets you apart from a lot of other professionals out there, real estate
I appreciate
professionals.
that.
Yeah.
It
We
is
learn a lot
professional.
from our mistakes.
We do. We totally do. And like, you know, the other thing is too, people forget that this is a profession. Like this is your biggest purchase.
Yes.
You can't take this lightly, you know. Unpopular opinion, not everybody should be a homeowner because not everybody is set up for the responsibility and the flesh that you have to put into the game to do this. So
I know.
that was my biggest lesson, and I wasn't going to let anybody ever feel the way I felt and as afraid as I felt, and I didn't want that for anyone. So got my license, sold some pre-construction, banked a little bit of money, strapped myself into another mortgage so I could qualify, because that's another thing people don't know. You need income to qualify for a mortgage. It's not just about your credit. And I was on a mission.
I think that's brilliant. With everything that's happened to you, you know, people define success in so many different ways. Like buying your first home is successful. You bought your first condo and then you had to sell it. And then you had the second condo that was going in at the same time almost. And then now you got that one. You then worked, you established yourself, you saved the money, you got yourself qualified for the mortgage. What I want to know is, how do you personally and professionally define success? And knowing your journey from that to where you are now and what you've achieved since, how has your definition changed over time?
It's a great question. And I ask myself this all the time. What is success? And when you're young and in your 20s or you're a young professional, you think dollar signs. You ultimately think the more money on that little screen on your cell phone in your app is going to give you more success. And at the beginning, it definitely is because, you can see the tangible things that provide you with the success. And owning your first place and having your first investment property, buying your first car, all those things definitely used to equate to success for me.
And also at the age that you did it at too, because you were young.
Totally. I was young and I sacrificed a lot of things, and maybe that's why I'm getting gray hair early.
Just put some highlights in.
Yeah. Honestly, brunette life. Maybe we'll see me as a blonde. I think success for me is now defined with how easily I can overcome hardship and hurdles.
Oh, I love that.
And that is success, right? And it's not even my own hardships and hurdles. I have clients that are in stressful situations just based on the economic times that we're in. Or I can provide an ear to someone and someone says, wow, Sue, you really listened to me. Or you can see clients who are downsizers. I deal with a lot of downsizers, and that's a very emotional time in their life. So to be able to be with someone and someone say to me, like, you made that transaction very simple. You helped me fulfill my goal. To me, that is success.
So
I mean, you can say it's happiness, right? Success is happiness for me. But at the end of the day, just knowing that I helped somebody else because I've already learned how to help myself.
Yeah, I love that. That actually, like, it warms my heart.
Oh, thanks.
I love that. So when you are achieving the success, helping others, feeling that happiness, how are you celebrating that for yourself? Because it's so important. So often we forget to celebrate when we reach a milestone, when we do what we set out to do. We just go on to the next thing, and that helps. It sometimes actually makes that achievement feel less important. So how do you celebrate when you've achieved something?
Well, I mean, at the beginning of my career, you see the check cash, and you're like, am I going to buy something? And you're like, am I going to get a purse? Am I going to go buy like something, this, that, the other? And that really quickly becomes old. Just like very, very old. How do I celebrate success now in my career? I actually take a moment and pause and recognize the success, because I think so many, especially, I don't want to draw the gender card, but so many women, we are so hard and so critical on ourselves. And even when we started this podcast, I said to you, I'm like, oh, that's what I really look like on the camera. That's like looking at yourself is crazy. We both look great. Listen, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Now, celebrating success is actually celebrating the success, as silly and as redundant as that sounds, is just being like, okay, Sue, you actually did a good job. Write yourself a note in your journal. Write yourself a moment in your phone. Screenshot the message. Keep it in a folder so you can go back on it when times get tough. I also love to celebrate small wins with my fiance, Elliot. He's the biggest supporter for me. So like we do stupid stuff all the time where we go and we get an ice cream. It's like, that was a really tough week and we survived. Do you want to get ice cream? Like something actually healthy and whatever, and like just to take a moment, because as sales professionals you don't get a moment for yourself. So I actually recognize the success and I like to take a moment.
I know.
Give myself time.
I love that, and I can completely relate to that, because my husband and I, when we're having when it's been like one of those weeks and we're we're at the end of the week, like we survived. Literally, one of us will be like, "Do you want a naughty?" And a naughty is like eating something bad. So and my God, the things that we can make, when we got married, we got one of those massive tubs of Nutella. Costco size, not the regular Costco size, but like the ones that are like, okay. We ate it very quickly. And what we would do is we would get graham crackers, and then we would put Nutella on it. Then we put a slice of banana on it, then a little bit of peanut butter on it, then a little bit of honey on it, and then the graham crackers on top. I'm telling you, it is amazing. It is so yummy. However, it is a very clear path to gaining like 30 pounds in a very small time frame. So then we had to get back fitness. But like doing that, like celebrating with like a naughty little treat, like even the words like saying naughty to me, everybody else has a different connotation about naughty.
Your little
Like me,
Nutella.
I know.
Give me the Nutella.
I'm excited for the Nutella. I'm like, yes, I want a naughty. But
I
it's
honestly,
wonderful that you
Colleen, I
guys
get
celebrate
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's really important too, because oftentimes when we celebrate, we forget to share that celebration as well. Like when I achieve something, working from home and everything, when I achieve something, I'll finish writing a course, I'll finish, creating something, whatever the case is. And like sometimes I'll be like, if I could paint the picture for you, I'll like be at the computer and I'll finish and I'll be like, yeah, like actually out loud, and pretty much probably like that. I'll be like, yeah, got that done. Yes, good job. And like I do like a little happy dance kind of thing, like the food happy dance.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's not anybody around me at that moment because
So like
oftentimes
high
I'm working
five
at
you.
home. Yeah. So when I'm in that situation, it's great for the end of the day to come when I can share that and say, I got this finished today with like Rob or, whoever will listen to me. I got this done. It's great. It's finished. I like was working so hard to do it. It feels so good to share that with others as well. I think it's an important aspect that people sometimes miss too. So
Completely. We weren't meant to be alone. Humanity needs humanity to further ourselves.
yeah, yeah. So I know that you are very much like me in the mindset of thinking things through and, trying to figure it out. So what I want to know, because planning ahead is so crucial, especially as an entrepreneur and in real estate, we get all these market fluctuations that we see, and there are definitely major aspects of the game that are out of our control, out of your control,
Totally.
and as an entrepreneur, out of my control. So what strategies do you use to plan for both your real estate career, but as well as your personal life and goals? Because I know you've got a lot going on personally as well.
As you say that, I just think about the nightmares I had of my wedding last night. And I woke up this morning, I went to training, and my trainer goes, "Did you sleep? You look a little tired." I'm like, I had a nightmare that my dress didn't do up and I didn't get flowers. And I was at a convenience store trying to pick up roses. So she's like, "Okay, well then,
I hear you.
your mind's a crazy thing." Yes. Okay. Life is busy. We're always all trying to do everything. So if you know me, I used to be terrible at using my calendar. And technology is not always my strong suit. So something I've really tried to implement is every Sunday, and I actually took this from a good friend of mine. Sundays, I like to take an hour and a half and just plan for the week. What doctor's appointments do you have, training sessions, clients, showings, and then something that you taught me as well too is time blocking your day, right?
Yeah.
So great. Our team lead also as well. He's been awesome. Break your day into thirds. So Sunday afternoons, I take a look at what's coming up. What are the things I can't move out of my schedule, like a specialist appointment or, training and all those kinds of things, whether it be personal training or RIA training, da, 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 da. Anyways, so those things are all my hards. And then I go and I try and move all my clients to scheduling activities where it's like, with traffic flow. We live in the GTA, it's busy.
Yes.
I've got to be at showings in Milton one day and showings in downtown the other day. Like we try and we move our like-minded activities. Again, something that you've taught me, Colleen.
Yeah.
We put all of the like activities together and try and put them on the same days. So
Absolutely.
so a big part of my success is planning. You've got to plan your work and then work your plan.
Yes, I love that because it's so true. So often we expect things to happen, but the actual nitty-gritty work involved is what we lack on. Like for me, the book that I wrote, it literally had me planning out my entire next year in advance. Like I know what I am doing on November 2nd this year. I know what I need to have done by that day. And I'm so planned out that I know each day in between now and November 2nd, what I need to get done during that specific time block, during that specific cycle. So in a way for me, what it did was it created that clarity of how to get to the goal. But it also took off a massive amount of pressure for me too, because I knew where other things could fit in when they come into my picture. I'm not just like, oh, so when somebody says, hey, can we chat or can we get together this day or whatever, I know where it can fit in. And then I can also, if I need to make adjustments in advance, I can do that and still hold the power. So it is so important, like you said, working your schedule. So
Yeah, and controlling your uncontrollables. That's been a
yeah.
big thing. You talk about, listen, I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you what the market's going to do. I can control my uncontrollables by scheduling time for further education,
Yeah.
talking to actual mortgage brokers. Financing is a huge part of my jobs. Scheduling time for further education allows me to control those uncontrollables when they come up, and I have clients that need something because the market has shifted.
And that's something that I definitely want to pay kudos to you on too, because I do know how hard you work to be fully informed. There's, you can talk the walk, but you actually walk the talk as well. You
I
do what
try.
you tell others to do. Like, you are a real estate investor. You've had experience in managing finances and having to figure it all out when things are not going well. So you're able to take that firsthand experience and guide those clients that you have coming through. And then on top of that, you also take that time to stay abreast on market trends, on financing trends, so that when your clients are coming through, you can fully inform them because you're fully informed.
We
That's
live in a
really
world of misinformation. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I have to jump
yeah.
in there, not to cut you off. We live in the ultimate world of misinformation, and nothing grinds my gears more than somebody who hears something like on social from somebody who is not qualified to give you that advice. That's like your best friend telling you have cancer on your toe if you've got an ingrown toenail. Like,
I know.
it's not, you're not qualified. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the internet is a blessing and a curse. So I appreciate that. Thank you. And I try and grab all my information for as many credited sources as I possibly can to share it with people, because I wish I had it.
I know. It really helps bring clarity. And in such a time, like, this is where one of the things that I say to people, especially when they're looking at, this is a tactic I use for when people are trying to figure out their schedules and time management and stuff. I say, what are you best at? What do you know? Like, what is your craft? And you need to focus on that. There's sometimes where you have to be, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to wear all hats because financially speaking, you're not able to delegate out yet. But once you have the funds to be able to delegate out, even just some of them, I use the Eisenhower matrix a lot, where I'll be like, oh, that is totally delegatable. Like, I should not be doing that task. I'm really great in this area. This is what I excel at. This is my bread and butter, but I'm not good at doing that. So I'll try and delegate it out. That's what's really important. People forget to delegate out. And then I've had clients who have literally been making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. And I'll be like, you need an assistant. And they will be hesitant to get an assistant for a very long time. Like, some of them, one still does not have an assistant. And I'm like, you need an assistant. Like, if that assistant takes off the load that you're not great at, and unfortunately is negatively impacting you, you would be able to flourish in other areas.
100%.
So
Gotta give to get.
I know, it's true. Okay, so I want to draw on your expertise about a lot of the common misunderstandings that people have about real estate, and how do you address them to ensure that your clients are satisfied?
Okay, well, like I said before, unpopular opinion, I really don't think everybody should be investing in real estate, whether it be your primary residence, pre-construction, assignments, et cetera, et cetera. So my number one thing is get to know my client. I want to know, what are your goals? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What does your financial ecosystem look like? And it's oftentimes when I ask these probing questions, it helps them to further deep dive into where they're at in their lives, right?
Yeah.
I have clients and I see it all the time. They're like, nope, don't want my fixed costs to be more than $3,000 a month. But then they'll go out and they'll buy a new handbag, or they'll spend $500 on a dinner, or and I'm like, okay, so you need to really realign your priorities. What are your priorities? That's number one. Right? Finding out, what are your clients' priorities? Are we a good fit? Can I help you? Is real estate what you really need? Because oftentimes, again, too, everyone hears such loud noises around them from all of these different influencers about, like, I should be owning my house. If you move here, it's cheaper than living here, et cetera, et cetera. And like, sure, all those things are true, but is it what's right for you? So number one, what did you come to me for? What's the root cause? Let's figure it out for both of us. It's not just for me to help you better. Oftentimes I get people being like, I want to buy a condo. Where do you want to live? I don't know. Where should I live? Oh, like, Come on, people. Let's figure it out here. Where do you want? And helping people align what they truly want inside of them is so so rewarding for me. Like that is success. We go back to that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Colleen, it's just like, yeah, it's tough. So getting to know your client, getting to know their wants, and then we ultimately always go to education. What do you know about the home buying process? Do you know what land transfer tax is?
Yeah.
Do you know how mortgage qualifications work? And no, I'm not a mortgage expert, but I understand the basics of it. And then it's like, let's put you in touch with a professional if you haven't as well too. So we go to the knowledge portion of the journey and the education portion of the journey, right?
Yes. And that's something that's really important because here's a personal thing that I've noticed.
Yes, you
So
know
I'm
this.
a financial strategist.
Yes.
I used to be mortgage licensed. Most of my clientele started off from the coaching business as real estate agents. So like I am heavily entrenched in all of those business aspects. And I meet a ton of people, especially when I am networking. And so often I run into people who don't do enough work in trying to understand the other aspects of the picture. So for example, a lot of people I find when they're thinking about buying or selling a house, they're like, oh, if I sell my house, let's say for $1 million and I buy a house for $1 million, it's basically a swap. And you're like, hold on a second. That's actually highly incorrect because of the things that you mentioned, land transfer fees, real estate fees as well. You're also
taxes on the real estate fees. People don't think they have to pay HST. They're like, sorry, why was your fee this? You're like, well, you have to pay the government. Hi.
Yeah, sorry, can't control that part. But that's the thing, like so many people especially, and this is an area where sometimes agents forget, and if they had it more top of mind, they might save more time because when you're going through that pre-qualification stage, you're going to get somebody who thinks, yeah, if I've got this amount for my house and I buy this amount, it's a swap. Well, no, actually, you may think that your mortgage is going to stay the same, but it's likely to increase because all of that stuff on like $1 million home, you're looking at like, I don't know, what would you say? Like $100,000 in all fees, like real estate transfer, taxes, legal fees. If you're breaking your mortgage fees, like there's a lot that people don't consider. So then you have to adjust what you're looking to get into versus what you're looking to sell your house for.
It's the same thing about being an entrepreneur, okay?
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur without a plan, I wish you the best of luck.
I know.
Anything in life, it's like buying and selling your home, investing, et cetera, et cetera. You need to break it down and we need to have a plan first.
Yeah.
Yes, you got to explore all your options. Absolutely. And I understand everybody wants to feel like they've done their due diligence and their research. 100% you do, but it all comes down to planning. And you ask, every business needs a business plan.
Yes.
If you run your life like a bit of a business, sometimes I am a little bit cold and dry about that. You can ask my better half. But if you run your life like a business and you run your real estate portion of your life like a business as well, you have that success. You got to write your business plan. So that's the number one way I like to start with my clients is like, okay, break it down. What's the business plan? And also too, to any realtors or any other entrepreneurs listening as well, that helps you be more successful too. The sooner you qualify your client, the better your odds of success with that client are as well too. Coaching somebody who doesn't have the means to pay for coaching is not a successful business plan for yourself or transcending mind.
You're absolutely right.
So that's another thing.
Target audience. Yeah, it's all about the target audience.
Two-way street, right? People like that's life. We're moving together, but it is a two-way street.
Absolutely. Okay, so technical expertise and also very personalized service is really key in real estate, like we're talking about here. Knowing the know and then also having the personal touch because it's such a big sale, like you touched on before. It's such an intimate sale too. Like there's very few professions where the person on a deeper level than probably their best friend. Like financial, I have clients tell me all the time, you know me more than my spouse may know me in a lot of aspects. And home purchase or home sale, same thing. You're like getting in their life. So with this in mind, how do you balance the aspects to ensure that you're giving exceptional service and also ensure that all of those technical points are being checked off?
Well, especially the last year in my career, I feel like I've gone through a lot of growth and understanding that my personality, my services, and my style of business is not for everyone was a huge factor to my success and growth over the past year. So you need to know that not every client is for you, just like you're not for every single client. So that was a big one as well. Also having to deliver hard news to clients, like, you know, people think, for example, staging will sell your home. Okay. Well, 9 times out of 10, if you've got a great real estate professional that has you promoted correctly, your pictures are good, it's like marketing. My mom always used to teach me the 4 P's: price, place, promotion. And I forget the other P that I'm missing. What is it? Price, place, promotion.
I want to say perceived value.
I think that's the same as, I'm going to call my mother because she was the one, like from a young age, from when I bought my first Care Bear and I didn't like I'll tell you this super quick story. This is my favorite thing, how I learned about marketing. Bought my first Care Bear. First of all, it was smaller than what it was. The markers didn't work and they didn't wash off when you put the Care Bear in the wash. Do you remember those things?
Yeah, I do. I remember exactly what you're talking about because it was like kind of like a jean material-ish.
Yeah.
I remember.
And I remember I was like, yes, I was 5. And I'm like, Mom, why doesn't this work like it was on the TV? And she goes, honey, that's called marketing. I'll never forget that. She's like, they got you, didn't they? But anyways, I digress. Back to the beginning of our question. If you are not selling, you're likely not priced correctly because everything does sell, but for the correct market price. Okay. And delivering hard news to clients, that's the hardest part of my job. So getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is like the best way to, it's like a mom giving their child love or a parent giving their child love. And sometimes it's tough love and they don't want to hear it, but in the end, we're thankful for it.
Yeah.
So being comfortable in your expertise, being up to date on your knowledge, actually reading the Treb updates that come up when you log in, actually doing your due diligence and reading multiple information sources from like the media to talking to your broker of record, to speaking to multiple different mortgage agents, keeping well informed and well educated, and knowing that you are the best that you can be in your craft gives you that peace and that mind and that solace to be that integral part of somebody's biggest transaction in their life.
Absolutely. And it is so key to doing that. So I want you to share with us one of your memorable moments that really taught you a valuable lesson in real estate, just like with the Care Bear and the marketing with your mom.
Gosh, there's been so many. Colleen, in my mind, I think I like picked up like 10 when you sent me these questions. I was like, oh my God, which one do we go for? Okay, well, so let me tell you, because again, I'm very transparent and very honest. Let me tell you about one of the times I was conned into selling a condo too cheap of my own because so I'm a big investor in pre-construction. So pre-construction is a phenomenal way to generate some wealth for yourself. Things have changed and obviously there are different HST implications nowadays, but I'm talking back in like 17, 18. I was undergoing a lot of financial stress by just trying to keep afloat. And, when you're young, it's the time to do that. And so somebody approached me with a deal on my condo and they're like, here you go. I paid $445 for it. And they're like, we'll give you $480. And again, this is before I was a licensed agent and in the process of getting my license, I was like, okay, my dad was sick. He had his first bout of heart failure. And I'm like, okay, what if I'm going to have to help my mom? And again, I was making decisions from an emotional standpoint. And this is something that you've coached me on multiple times. I was making decisions from an emotional standpoint and not a rational business decision. And I was like, hey, maybe I should take it. Like it's like 40-ish grand. Da, da, da. Yeah. You should take it, Sue. You should take it. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the future. And you get sold into something.
Yeah.
And I did it. I took it. And hindsight, man, like the thing is worth like, I don't know, 800 grand now, but hindsight's 2028. Well, it's money. We got like 2 legs, our heart's still pumping, like as resilient as they come, So, I sold it and hindsight's 2020. What did I learn? I learned a lot of things. I learned number 1, due diligence. do your own due diligence. Number 2, don't ever be rushed. Okay. Anytime you're feeling like you're in a decision, whether it be personal or business, and someone is rushing you or hurrying it up, yes, there's urgency,
Yeah.
like we have offer presentation dates. There
Yeah.
are deadlines, there are irrevocables, there's urgency, but being rushed versus a sense of urgency are two very big things.
Yes. They feel bad.
Yeah. And then also number 3, trust your intuition. If something doesn't feel good in your gut, something doesn't feel good in your heart, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's, you have to trust yourself. You go to bed with yourself every single night. You're with yourself 24 freaking 7. So you need to get to know yourself. And if you think something is wrong, something is likely wrong. So again, I always tell my clients, oh yeah, I've been through everything. I've leased, I've assigned, I've bought, I've sold. I've lived in every single freaking part of the GTA from like Parliament and Wellesley. I accidentally moved there thinking it was a nice part of town back in like 2018.
I love it. I accidentally moved. I love that.
I did, Colleen. One time, I talked a guy into doing an apartment swap with me. I was living in Parliament in Wellesley, and I was like, no, this is not for me.
Yeah.
I met at a bank. We were just chitter chattering, and I was like, he lived in Liberty, and he hated it. He's like, I'd love to be more on the East End. I'm like, well, honey, I have the place for you. And we did an apartment sublet, so I've even subletted.
That's amazing. You are so resourceful. Like, this is what I love about your tenacity. Like, you meet a stranger and you're like, hey, let's swap apartments. And you got it done. Like, you did it.
3 weeks.
Like,
it took me 3 weeks.
negotiation mastered.
We don't take no for an answer. It's not, unless like the universe is telling me, Sue, it's no. We don't take no for an answer.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so guiding your clients through real estate transactions, it's a pretty significant decision, like we said, like super intimate decision. You are helping them live where they're going to live for at least a little while. So it requires a lot of objectivity because, like, for me, one of the things that I love about the real estate industry is like getting to go into people's homes and seeing how they decorate and how they live and wondering how they got there and everything. I love that.
The story behind it. Yes.
Exactly. But when you are trying to help somebody find a home or sell their home, you have to be very objective about it. So how do you ensure that the advice you're giving is unbiased and the assessments that you're giving are unbiased and not filtered through your own likes and wants and needs and so forth?
Absolutely. And that's a lesson you learn really well. Not you. I use like the hypothetical you learns very early on in your career, just because you think that the West End is the best end doesn't necessarily mean your client is going to. So you've got to really place yourself in your client's shoes. Okay. You've got to remove your own biases about certain neighborhoods, certain building styles, certain aesthetics as well too. And you need to come to everything with a very open mind. Number 1. Number 2, like I mentioned a million times, it's almost vomit inducing. Understand your client's finances and what they can and cannot do. I'm always conservative as well too. Listen, I will use market statistics till I'm blue in the face to tell you what the property is worth. Will I try and always go for the most when we're selling your property? Absolutely, because I would want that same service for myself. But the market is the market, and I'm very clear in facts that way.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's a business transaction that you're doing here too. You can't go to the supermarket and expect to buy an avocado for 50 cents. Yeah. It just doesn't happen anymore. Like, you don't.
I wish.
Me too. Me too.
Love avocado.
Same. Me too. 2 for $5. Like, who, that's a steal sometimes. I mean, everything out there is just like, I don't know. I'm going on the ice diet pretty soon. It's just frozen water.
So true. Everything. Like, I go to the grocery store and I'm just like, and my kids love fruit. Very luckily, with our family business in greenhousing, my family goes to the Ontario Food Terminal.
Yes.
Food terminal. So during the spring and the summer, we are highly spoiled with tons of fresh fruit and vegetables and unique stuff as well. But then when it comes to the fall and the winter time, I'm like, strawberries are that expensive?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm filled with pesticides, but we won't go there because nutrition is my passion piece. Not what pays not what pays the bills for me. But yeah, no, it's like you can't expect the impossible. It's not like we're not miracle workers. I can't do what the market won't let me do. So setting expectations is a huge pillar of success for both myself and for my clients.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same for you as well, right?
Absolutely. It's very, very helpful in being able to be successful. It paves that way for your success and their success. So,
Totally. Yeah.
so I want to end with a special question.
Go for it. I'm excited.
I want to know what message or wisdom that you want to share with the audience today about your journey and success and your success as a real estate agent.
I could talk to you for 45 minutes on what I want the world to know because you know me. But okay, number one is hope. I want to leave everybody on a very positive note. If you would have asked me April of 2014 when I moved here, if I thought I would be sitting here, and there's always that like things you would say to your past self from your present self. I had no idea that I would be able to have the life that I have now. But if I didn't have hope, I didn't have aspiration, and I didn't keep putting one foot in front of the other every single day and taking those small steps, I wouldn't be where I am here today. Also, I just want everyone to take a moment and understand that if you do have a small setback, and Colleen, like you came into my life at a time where I was experiencing big setbacks. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of that moment. There are more moments to come. Oftentimes we get so ahead of ourselves or we compare to our past selves. Don't just take a second, breathe, and know that this too shall pass.
Yeah. And I just want to say, because when I did come in, you were going through a turbulent time.
The worst time ever.
Lots of change. It was lots of change. It was really hard. And I remember you were very resilient in everything that you were going through, even in the moments when it was chaos. You were still able to have that moment when we were talking. You were still able to have that moment and reframe. Right. And what I always loved about you when you were working through things was how you did have that. It's positive, but it was also your style of positive.
Oh yeah. It's like making fun of myself. I mean, okay, so I just found out this shitstorm unveiled itself today. What's tomorrow going to be?
Exactly. But it's still that positivity where you're like, well, this is what it is. And this is what we're going to have to do. And we're going to just push through, aren't we? Because that's what we have to do. Like literally, I feel like I just was like mimicking you.
That was me. That's very me. And my friends and family all know me. It's like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Cry? Who's gonna listen to me if I cry? No one listens to me when I'm happy and talk like the truth. So no one's gonna listen to me when I cry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you keep pushing forward, and why I have appreciated so much getting to know you and continuing to know you and watching you grow. Like I said, I can't wait to see you in 6 to 12 months from now, especially in the after fall, once the big excitement's all, I can't wait to see you and how you continue to grow, and you and Elliot as a unit, your business, your life flourishing. You have achieved so much in the time that I've known you. You achieved a lot before I knew you. So I can't wait to see what else you achieve in the future.
Colleen, thank you. And the same goes for you. It's nice to be entrepreneurs empowering entrepreneurs. We're all, everyone is in a different realm of business, but we're all here to support one another in a time where the world sometimes feels a little bit bleak. It's nice to know that there is human connection out there and we can all lean on each other. So I do have to say a huge thank you goes out to you for your coaching and just teaching me positivity and the proper tools to program the tiny thing between here and here to succeed.
Yeah, well, I'm so proud of you. And like I said, can't wait to see what the future has in store
Thanks,
for you.
Colleen.
So thank you so much for joining us today. And everybody, thank you so much for listening us today. Sue, how can our listeners get in contact with you, whether they're fellow agents looking to chat with you or potential clients? how can they find you on social media, on your website? Give us our details.
Thank you, Colleen. My Instagram handle, which seems to be the easiest way for everyone, is very simple. It is Your Realtor Sue. You can check out both of my team affiliations at Ultra Group or Wolfpack. We are part of Century 21 Atria. You can always text me. That's the fastest way, 416-450-4992, or email me. I'm always here. And I welcome everyone and anyone, all walks of life. If I can share any part of my experience, whether it's health, wealth, business, personal, what it's like to be a human being in 2024, I am always here. My phone is always open and I'm always here to help. So thank you, Colleen, for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you joining me today. So on that note, everyone, have a wonderful day, and thanks again for tuning in.